Hi guys, welcome back, and hello if you are new. I hope all of you are having a fantastic weekend. Following the incredibly polarizing Catharsis, which was a record I quite liked a lot, Machine Head returned this year with their 10th release, which is Øf Kingdøm And Crøwn. Now, it's been a minute since we've heard from the band, and there have been more than a few changes. We've had Phil Demmel and Dave McLean, longtime members of the band, exit, and we've had them now joined by Vog, who is in Decapitated, and also Matt Alston on drums. This is also the band's first ever attempt at a concept album, so no pressure, Machine Head. So join me as I delve into this absolutely incredible brand new album.
Everything is run to the core. Oh, everything is run to the core.
So the band's first ever concept album delves into the lives of two kind of protagonists, let's say, which go by the name of Eros and Ares. The crux of the story is Ares' quest to hunt down Eros, who killed his lover, and then at the same time Eros is kind of, going through his own problems and facing his own demons, you could say, in the fact that he loses his mother from an overdose. And then it's very much kind of a fall from grace from there. But I don't want to give too much away because that's part of the fun, I think, with a concept album. It's a combination of the story of them as individuals, but also how their lives kind of intertwine. And I think it makes for some of the most poignant moments that I've ever heard in Machine Head's career. I also think it's really interesting because it plays with the idea of perspective and what is perceived as your truth and what is right, when in actual fact you've kind of lost all sense of self, and at least that's how I interpreted it. So I was really open-minded to Catharsis. I thought it was a record that kind of got an unfair amount of flack, to be totally honest. But one thing I will say is that I think it lacked a bit of focus. There were just kind of too many ideas floating around. But thankfully, with a concept album, that kind of level of focus is really pinpoint accurate, because you've got to create this world, which is a one unified theme, one unified mood, and in some cases melody as well. The record is also incredibly tight, and I think showcases just how brilliant this new incarnation of Machine Head is. In the lineup, we've got Rob and Vog, who are both on guitars, and Rob vocals, respectively. Jared is on bass and kind of does some backing vocals. And then their live drummer is Matt Alston, but on this record, Naveen Copperweiss, who previously was in Animals as Leaders, was drafted in as kind of like a studio session drummer kind of thing, and he knocked it absolutely out of the park. It's incredible, the drumming on this record. Vog's contributions can be seen throughout the record, and it could be a riff like on Bloodshot or Kill Thy Enemies, or his signature kind of guitar solos. But what I think is so great about having Vog in the band is it injected a new sense of, vision and a new identity to what Machine Head can be. You can also see just how well these two work together, particularly on lead and rhythm, on Choke on the Ashes of Your Hate and also Kill Thy Enemies. Now, I also have to say, vocally, this is definitely the most adventurous Machine Head record to date. Rob mentioned, I think previously, that he was taking singing lessons during the pandemic and all this sort of stuff, and I can't tell you how much that's really paid off. The opening salvo of Slaughter the Martyr has this quite, I guess, unapologetically long intro, but that, I think, is where you can see Rob's evolution as a singer probably the best. And, he's trying different ideas that he's not done before and pulling them off incredibly well. But there's also something to be said for Jared's backing vocals, I think. He really adds a different kind of melody and enhances those harmonies as well. Become the Firestorm, I think, is a really big kind of example of that, and also Unhallowed. You can tell that the songs have been really painstakingly looked over, and that the dynamics are, I think, really at the forefront of everything. And it might be, the same kind of riff, but changing it from a single note to a power chord, or adding another layer of melody that just kind of tips it over the edge to make it even more kind of climactic, I guess. I also think that some of the solos, the way they end on this record, are just so slick, man. Like Choke on the Ashes of Your Hate and Become the Firestorm. It's just like beyond slick just how they go back into that chorus. And Overdose, which I thought was a wicked little nod to, I remember now from Operation Mindcrime. It's very similar. It's, you know, just like a minute-long interlude. Is a great introduction to this part of the mourning, I guess, of Eros when he loses his mother. And you can hear that on My Hands Are Empty, which is, you know, where he's kind of like in the depths of despair. But then on Unhallowed, the song kind of changes midway through and he has this sort of rage which kind of ignites in him. And that's where you start to see, you know, the sort of like more aggressive side, I think, of this record. Then after that, we've got Assimilate, which is, again, another interlude which kind of creates this sort of riot aesthetic, I guess. But it really weaponizes the most aggressive part of the album, which is Kill Thy Enemies, No Gods, No Masters, Bloodshot, and Rotten, which is then lined up for the third interlude, which is Terminus. And that really is the kind of denouement of the record. And I think brings the final track into a completely different light and really makes it one of the best songs I think they've written. It's really weird, actually, how much this song has grown on me since listening to the record. And that track is Arrows in Words from the Sky. And as much as the record is epic and, you know, it's got all these grand ideas, it's still Machine Head, man. Like, it's really, really heavy at some points. Like, No Gods, No Masters, Rotten, I think, and Choke on the Ashes of Your Hate. However, despite all of the crazy trials and tribulations that this band have been through, I guess they have proven that lightning really does strike twice. Or maybe thrice, if it Burn My Eyes is considered as well. But personally, Blackening is like one of the best out. I think it's like a modern day Master of Puppets, basically. Øf Kingdøm And Crøwn is a bold, emotive, and spectacular leap forward for this band. And it will 100% be in my albums of the year this year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you might have learned a little bit more about Machine Head's brand new album, which is out August 26th via Nuclear Blast. Let me know what you think in the comments underneath me. Hit that like and subscribe button. I have to say it, I'm a YouTuber. And I will see you guys next week. Take care, my friends.